Alright, my friends, welcome back to Mountaintop 9. I'm your friend Eric, and I guess you enjoyed that video of my top 5 from 1980, because here we are. This video is going to be my top 5 from 1981, plus honorable mentions, and maybe I'll shit on a movie or two as well. So, hop up on your knees for old Buck, and let's get started right now. My number 5 would be Absurd, also known as Monster Hunter, also known as Horrible, also known as Anthropophagus or the Grim Reaper Part 2. This is the Joe D'Amato sequel to his movie that came out a year prior called The Grim Reaper. Now, if you watch the first movie, it's kind of boring, alright? I don't dislike it or anything. I don't dislike the first one, Anthropophagus, but it's a little bit boring. There are some night scenes where the darkness is pretty impenetrable. I mean, you'll be sitting there looking at the screen going, I don't know what the fuck's going on. I mean, if you rented the old Monterey big box VHS release of the Grim Reaper, you'd know exactly what I mean. There are scenes where people are like running through the woods or whatever, and you just don't even know what the hell's going on. But that movie had some legendary gore sequences, like when the villain pulls out the fetus from the woman and he eats it. He tears a baby out of this pregnant woman, and then he fucking eats it. I think they used a rabbit or something for that sequence for the special effects. It's gruesome stuff. Also, you got the guy, you know, his guts are coming out and everything, so it's a pretty, it has some gruesome elements in it for sure, the first one. But Absurd is where everything, this is perfection as far as I'm concerned. This movie, Joe D'Amato, my favorite movie that he ever made was Bio Omega, also known as Beyond the Darkness. But I think I'd put Absurd at number 2. I really would, just simply because it's just entertaining from start to finish. I think the pacing's a lot better in this movie than in the first one. I like the fact that the villain, there are some gruesome deaths in here, like he kills one nurse, he takes some kind of, like a surgical drill or something, alright, and he puts it right through her temple, and you see the blood coming out and everything. Now, the blood in this movie has that kind of crayon look to it. It doesn't have that realistic look to it, but it's still disturbing, it's still crude, it kind of makes your stomach turn if you're squeamish. I'm not squeamish, but I know some people are, and so I can kind of see where it might get under some people's damn skin, and you see the drill, it goes all the way through her head, out to the other side, so that's pretty sick, that murder scene. There's also a part where he takes this fucking bald guy, alright, and he takes him and he puts him on this table and it puts a saw right through the top of his head, and you see the saw cut through the skin and you get more of that bright red blood spurting out, so that's pretty sick. He also kills someone by putting their head in an oven. So yeah, we got some nice crude exploitation horror from Joe D'Amato, and you can't go wrong with that. So my number 5 is Absurd, so check that one out if you've never seen it. My number 4 would be Burial Ground. Kick-ass zombie movie. My favorite element of this movie is the zombie makeup. These guys are just fucked up looking. I mean, they just look, just the way they design their faces, they look like what you'd imagine a rotting, nightmarish zombie would look like, you know? Like if you ever read old EC horror comics and you read the stories that are illustrated by Graham Ingalls, okay? And stuff like that. Those zombies just have this heinous look to them, and I feel like a movie like Burial Ground, it captures that essence of just what you would see in a vivid nightmare. And this movie's sleazy to the max. I mean, you've got the Peter Bart character going up to his mother, and you know, he's wanting to fucking touch her tits and everything else, and eventually he bites right into her tit and rips it right off. It's got stuff like that going on that kind of makes a smile come to your face because it's just funny stuff. So yeah, Burial Ground would be my number 4. My number 3 would be My Bloody Valentine. Now, it took me years to come around to this movie because when I first saw My Bloody Valentine in the 90s, I was let down. I wanted it to be more gruesome and bloody than it was because, you know, I had seen still shots in Fangoria magazine which showed murders that you don't even see in the damn movie until they finally put out an uncut version where they reinstated those cutscenes. Now this movie packs a punch. It's mean-spirited. The kills are just, they're gruesome. You got people getting their heads impaled on like pipes and shit and just all kinds of cool stuff. And I just feel like this is a really dark movie now. I've always loved the setting. Anytime you have a horror movie where people are going down into like underground caverns and stuff, that's a perfect setting for horror because you wonder what's lurking down there in the darkness around every corner, and that's how you really get under people's skin. So My Bloody Valentine is my number 3. House by the Cemetery comes in at number 2, and man, this movie has so much going for it. You've got the Dr. Freudstein character down there in the basement, and he's using, you know, he's killing people, and then he's using their cells to keep him alive. And he doesn't just stop at men and women. He kills children, too. This is one sick, fucked up dude, and there are sequences in here where you see bodies laying down there in the basement, and they got maggots on them. And that reminds me a sick scene towards the end where this dude stabs Dr. Freudstein, and when he's pulling out, you know, the implement, you see all these nasty worms and maggots falling out onto the ground. That shit will make you vomit if you are of weak constitution. If you're the type of person who just ate an extra large pizza with extra cheese and a fucking ham and cheese sub and downed it with a big bottle of Pepsi, well, that might make you vomit chunks all over your damn floor because that's gruesome stuff right there. The murder sequences in here are second to none. You know, it would be one thing if this Freudstein just came up and cut someone's throat. That'd be one thing, okay? Or if he just strangled a victim and left it at that. But in this movie, this Dr. Freudstein, he'll fucking stab someone repeatedly with something, and you see the blood just spraying everywhere, and it's just really, it's really gruesome how the blood comes out, and it's a dark, thick texture. It's really nasty looking, and then he's also cutting their throats, and the blood sprays everywhere, and the camera's just zooming up on this, just leering at every shocking detail. And Fulci was the master at that. And so the effects in here, gruesome to the extreme. And so you have the over-the-top violence, but you also have a great setting. That house kicks ass that this movie takes place in. And they later used this house in the film Ghost House, the Umberto Lenzi movie that came out a few years later. But yeah, the house, the music, oh man, the music to this movie is fan-fucking-tastic. Love it. So yeah, House by the Cemetery is my number 2 for 1981. Alright, my friends, my number 1 pick for 1981 is Nightmare, also known as Nightmares in a Damaged Brain. And I'm sure you've heard me mention this film before. It's one of those films that I just hold near and dear to my heart. The main character in this movie, George Tatum. By now, I'm sure you've all seen this film. You know what George did when he was a kid. He chopped off that lady's head, and the blood sprayed all over his dad's fucking bedroom, and then he put that axe right in the middle of his dad's skull. And then you see rivers of blood come out of his damn head, too. So this is what this sick little son of a bitch did when he was a child. For some reason, he saw his father with a mistress or something, and thought it'd be a good idea to put a fucking axe through him. Now, I don't understand that. What the fuck is the matter with this little prick? But that's what he did, and of course he grows up to be all fucked up, and he commits murder, I guess, when he's an adult, and he gets institutionalized, and then he ends up being let out from the institution. Now, that's a bad idea, because George is very fucked up, and he gets back to his old murderous ways in no time flat. And the thing about Nightmare is it's just so well made. This is a grimy movie. You know when you get like a nice cheesesteak or a cheeseburger or a nice slice of pizza and you get some grease on your hands and you're like, man, I gotta go wash my hands. You're done eating the food. It tastes really good, but you gotta go wash up. This movie's the same way. It leaves you feeling dirty. It leaves you feeling grimy. And that's what Nightmare... I mean, there are very few movies that I hold in as high esteem as I do this one, as far as being effective in that specific way. And the gore effects are spot on. And, you know, the scenes of that little boy, of the CJ character, the way he torments the babysitter. And he torments her to the point where she doesn't even know whether she can trust what's going on with her own eyes or not. It gets to the point where it's like the boy who cried wolf. She's been tricked so many times by this little kid that finally, when she's faced with imminent danger, when George Tatum himself, you know, this maniacal killer, he's in the house, he's coming towards her, she thinks it's just little CJ, you know, playing another prank. You know, there's some cool special effects sequences with a pickaxe going right into someone's body, and you see it coming out. And that's the kind of stuff that you just don't see in your average horror movie. You know what I mean? This takes it up a notch as far as the violence is concerned. It's confrontational and it's depressing. It's not a feel-good movie. I feel like it really edges out Maniac as far as that's concerned. Nightmare is really at the top of the heap, in my opinion, as far as early 80s horror in general, any year. So it's my number one for 1981. Alright, let's get to some honorable mentions. First of all, The Pit. If any of you have ever seen this movie is about a little boy named Jamie, and he has a little bear. He has a little teddy bear, and, you know, this teddy bear speaks to him, okay? He has conversations with it. There's also this hole out in the middle of the fucking woods where there are these creatures that he calls trolologs. That's what Jamie calls them, trolologs. And, these creatures need human flesh. So, you know, Jamie comes up with ways to feed these little creatures that are in this pit out in the woods. And I'll tell you what, this Jamie, he's one sick little bastard. He likes to, he has a crush on his damn babysitter. He tricks one of his school teachers into undressing in front of a window. Also, I love the cover for this movie. The cover where he's sitting with the bear, you know. I still remember the first time I rented this movie. So much fun. So you gotta check out The Pit if you've never seen it. Another honorable mention we'll get out of the way right now is The Evil Dead. I'm not gonna sit and waste your time talking about The Evil Dead. You know how great it is. You know it's a kick-ass movie, so I'm not even gonna waste time. Plus, I just got done filming a full-length review for The Evil Dead. So if you want to hear what I think about The Evil Dead, check that out whenever it's out. I'm not sure if it'll be done before this video, but if it's not, when it's done, check it out. Now, another movie, Halloween 2. Halloween 2, I feel like amps up the violence. I appreciate that fact, so that gives it a little bit more punch. I also like the fact that the score in this one is a little bit more electronic based. You got some cool synthesizer in Halloween 2, you know, in there doing that really cool classic score, so I like that. Another honorable mention for 1981 would be Dead and Buried. Now, I made a video about this one, probably like a year ago, or it's been several months ago. But if you saw that video, you know how I feel about Dead and Buried. It has a really cool offbeat atmosphere. It has a depressing piano theme that I really like. And that twist ending really packs a wallop. So, good stuff. Definitely check out Dead and Buried. Another movie I want to recommend from 1981 is Eyes of a Stranger. It's really seedy and sick. It has some really twisted murders in it. There's a sequence in here where a head ends up in a damn fish tank. And this movie just really hit home for me when I was a kid, because I watched this one when I was real little. And the murders just seemed so gruesome to me when I watched it, you know, at a very young age. So definitely check out Eyes of a Stranger. This is a movie that doesn't get enough attention. Of course, I need to mention The Beyond as well. It's never been one that's a favorite of mine as far as Fulci flicks are concerned. A lot of people hold The Beyond up to be like the be-all, end-all of Italian horror in general, at least in Fulci's career. But, man, give me Gates of Hell or House by the Cemetery any day over The Beyond. I mean, I appreciate The Beyond for what it is. I mean, that scene where that dog rips that chick's throat out, that's cool stuff and everything. But just overall, it just doesn't have the same type of atmosphere that a movie like House by the Cemetery has. which was released the same year. Evil Speak is fun. We've got Final Exam came out in 1981. There are just so many. I could go on and on. 1981 is overflowing with cool horror. Now, we've also got legendary films like The Howling and An American Werewolf in London. I'll tell you what. As far as those two movies are concerned, if I needed to pick one, I'd pick The Howling every fucking time. Now, both of these movies have a problem with trying to be a little bit funny at times. You know, they try to go for comedy, especially American Werewolf in London. Luckily, The Howling isn't as quite, you know, I don't think it beats you over the head with the fucking comedy quite as much. I also appreciate the fact that the werewolves in The Howling, you know, they walk upright. I like werewolf movies where the werewolves stand up and walk on their back legs. I like that better than when they're down on all fours like in American Werewolf in London. I'll tell you what, I don't really care for An American Werewolf in London. I've never cared for that fucking movie, so it's one that I would put firmly in the overrated camp. I appreciate the special effects from Rick Baker, you know, and the fact that they were shot right under bright light and he had to pull off this sequence of having that transformation. That transformation is cool, but it just doesn't pack up, it just doesn't pack the primal punch of Rob Bottin's work in The Howling. I'll take that any day over An American Werewolf. Any fucking day. The Howling is just better. 1981 also saw the release of both The Burning and The Prowler, and man, between the two of those, it's a damn toss-up for me, because both of those movies are a mixed bag. I mean, the best elements of The Burning and The Prowler are Tom Savini's gore effects. You know, the murders in both of those are just tremendously well executed, no pun intended, especially the scenes in The Prowler. I mean, that throat slitting in the swimming pool, the way that blade is just going back and forth and kind of sawing at her neck. You've heard me talk about that scene in other damn videos. You know how much I appreciate the way they pulled that scene off. That's gruesome stuff, man. It don't get any better than that in a slasher flick. Also, when the bayonet goes through the top of the guy's head, and then the pitchfork in the shower stall. I mean, come on, man. It's just top-of-the-line stuff. Unfortunately for me, The Prowler's kind of boring, though, in a way. It just doesn't kind of keep me engaged all the way through the way a movie like My Bloody Valentine. I feel like that's a movie that does a good job keeping you engaged. Slashers are my favorite subgenre of horror. You know how much I love slasher movies, but I will be honest about there are certain slashers that are kind of like sacred cow to people. Like, you can't talk shit about them. You can't speak the truth. You're just supposed to say, oh, that's a classic, and just leave it at that. But I'm going to be honest with you right now. The Prowler is a classic in a sense, but it's flawed. It has some boring elements to it, and I feel like it could have been paced better. It just could have. Also, The Burning, the same way. It has some really cool stuff to it, but it could have been paced a little bit better. And but I like both. I mean, that raft massacre scene in The Burning, I mean, come on. Just really great stuff. So both of those movies, they're good, but they do have their flaws. Just really quickly, I'll add about 4 more titles from 1981 that you definitely have to check out. Ghost Keeper, Bloody Moon, The Funhouse, and Happy Birthday to Me. Happy Birthday to Me is a great slasher flick. If you're a slasher fan and you haven't seen Happy Birthday to Me, then I don't know what you're waiting for. Definitely check that one out. But anyway, guys, I appreciate you watching this video, and you know, sometime in the future we're going to talk about my top 5 from 1982. We're going to have honorable mentions, and I'll probably shit on a movie or two and talk about a couple that I hated. Luckily with 1981, there weren't really any titles that I had real strong hateful feelings towards. Most of 1981, even if it's not quality stuff, it's still passable, or stuff that doesn't offend my sensibilities too much. But in the comment section, let me know what your favorite titles from 1981 are, and guess what, guys? I'll be seeing you again next time.